Southampton Comic Con, held at Places Leisure Centre in Eastleigh.
Ice.
Primitive device.
You're too realistic.
This event was 15 minutes drive from my house, and I'd heard Mike Quinn was attending, so I had to go and meet him in person. And along this table were the guests. You can see Julian Glover, Joe Martin from Doctor Who, Mike Quinn, Brian Wheeler and Michael Henbury. I've been going to conventions and meeting Star Wars guests now since 2015, and this was the first time meeting Mike Quinn. So I really lucked out at this convention because I got to spend a good 15 minutes chatting to Mike about his time playing Nien Nunb. Mike told me that the character was actually voiced by a guy called Kipsang Rotich, who is actually a student from Kenya. And the words Nien Nunb actually spoke was a Kenyan language. Mike spent about 2 months on Return of the Jedi and filmed all the cockpit shots for Nien Nunb. So I brought with me this 8x10 official pics image. I've had this in my folder for absolutely years, just waiting for the opportunity to meet Mike and get this signed. I gave Mike a brand new white Edding paint pen. Really pleased with how this has come out, and I think I'm going to be using it a lot more in the future. Mike really takes his time when he's signing. He makes sure that he gives a perfect autograph every time. He also adds this lovely inscription of the name Nien Nunb, which I've seen on many collector's items. I'm sure if you've met Mike, you've got this inscription on there, but you can see the time he takes here to get this nicely in place. So following on from Echo Base, where I had Jack McKenzie sign a vintage collection figure, I was actually looking on eBay and found this for about 15 quid. It's a 40th anniversary Return of the Jedi vintage collection figure, and you know what, I think I might be starting a bit of a trend for myself here, because they're quite cheap to pick up and they come out really nice. Mike Quinn has got an outstanding back catalogue of work. Back in 1977, Mike used to visit the set of The Muppets. It was from there that Mike went on to work with the Jim Henson Group on many shows. Right here you can see some of Mike's extensive resume of movies: The Dark Crystal, Little Shop of Horrors, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, The Muppets Christmas Carol, A Bug's Life, Jurassic Park, even Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones as an animator. I think it's incredible to be playing Nien Nunb in the 1980s and then returning to play the character again in the sequel trilogy 40 years later. I asked Mike what his experiences were like on not just Return of the Jedi, but on the new Disney era, because, you know, Mike's employed by Lucasfilm, Mike is still puppeteering, Mike is working on all the new stuff. So Mike said that he really enjoyed working with JJ on Force Awakens and The Rise of Skywalker. He said that the crew was just as good as what it was back in the day. He said the lighting had improved over what it was, and he also said the actual masks that he wore were actually a lot better with airflow than what they were back in the day. Regarding the new Star Wars Disney Plus content, Mike has worked on Andor Season 1, Season 2, and more recently, The Acolyte.
If you want to pull the thread and change everything, then pull it.
If you ever get a chance to meet Mike Quinn in person and get an autograph from him, please do. I highly recommend it. He's a great guy to talk to. He's full of stories and, you know, it's just a really nice experience. It is always a pleasure to see Mr. Brian Wheeler at a convention. Brian played an Ewok and a Jawa in Return of the Jedi. He had this wonderful image on his table that I'd not seen before, and I just had to pick it up. Always good having a chat with Brian. He's got such a wicked dry sense of humour, always engaging and up for a chat about Star Wars. There were some great Star Wars props on display at this convention. Something that I'm seeing more and more of at conventions are great photo opportunities for people. These dioramas are just there for cosplayers to jump in and get their photos on. Even the scout troopers have got to get their merch, right? I just wanted to give a shout out to all the cool stuff. So this is a local toy store based in Fordingbridge, Hampshire, and they are at all of the conventions. You'll see them there. They had some really cool Black Series figures and some vintage collection, which I've had my eye on lately. This was an unexpected pickup of mine, a vintage figure with the original card back. And just in case you were wondering, this didn't cost me £1.50. I think it set me back around 20 quid. Shout out to the Portsmouth Ghostbusters. They've got a fantastic event coming on soon. These guys were there representing. They're ready to believe you. Go check out this event. It looks like it's going to be an absolute blast. So that about wraps it up for my time at Southampton Comic Con. They have a second event planned for October the 26th this year. Details are in the description.
That's awesome.